Aloha. I'm Rita Shuford. I'm a licensed psychologist living currently in Hawaii. And it is a pleasure to be able to uh, share a few thoughts about my meeting Sid and learning about the principles after for his anniversary of 50 years since he had his experience. Unbelievable. So I'm happy to be a part of this. It's been the work of my heart for 45 years or so myself. Before I heard about the principles, I was always in the business of helping people. It seemed to be a calling for me from very early on in my life. And somewhere around 1976, it was 1976, I had been married and was in the middle of a divorce. It was amicable. Although I never thought it would end, but we, as friends, decided something wasn't right and decided it was best for us to divorce. And, but it left me with a lot of questions about what it takes to be happy and really happy, right? And and so I was going in and out of some sadness and depression, uh, and I also had taken a leave of absence from my job, which was running a juvenile delinquency prevention program, and had the opportunity of learning about many approaches and theories to help people. And when I took my leave of absence, I had come to a place of really feeling quite deeply in my heart of hearts that there was a missing link, and in our understanding of human beings, in my understanding, because I could see what I would call the good in people, uh, and the theories and techniques at that time seemed to uh, it it was complicated. They were taking people back in the past, innocently thinking that would help them do better now. I decided to enter a doctoral program. My main goal was to try to find the missing link for the common denominators in psychology. And I had a good friend I worked with, Roger Mills, who had told me about meeting and hearing a guy named Sydney Banks, and that he had used some tapes of Sydney Banks. And 1977, about a year after Roger left town, got admitted to the program, doctoral program. And out of the blue, I remembered that Roger had told me about some tapes that he'd used at classes at the university. And so I thought, well, let me see. I went to the bookstore. They had a tape called The Missing Link by Sydney Banks, who I just heard Roger talk about. That's all I knew. I didn't know who it was. And I was just curious. I really had no expectation, really, because I'd been a year on this search of trying to find the missing link. And but I was open, and about 5 minutes into the tape, the penny drops for me, and I know in my heart, I know I'm hearing the truth that Sydney Banks had found the missing link, and I was hearing it through him, and that never changed for me. It never changed for me, and so it totally did change the course of my life in and continues to change the course of my life. But that certainty that I had felt that there was a missing link, and that what I could see in people was in fact in people, is what I was hearing from Sydney Banks, that we're innately healthy, that and that's our core being. And that will never change, ever, right? I now had a clue that it really was possible for people to be happy for no good reason, no matter what had gone on in our lives as human beings and what we were facing now. I just knew in my heart that was true. I was certain that what Sydney Banks was talking about was what I had been looking for, right? I had no doubt of that. And that it, you might say it confirmed in a way for me, I could always see, the good or the potential in people, right? And and it was like, yes, of course that's true, because it's true that people at the core are healthy and whole and have everything they need to be happy. And now I knew without a shadow of a doubt that there wasn't one human being that couldn't be helped to find their way home to themselves, their true self, you might say. It's been a constant learning and growing since that first little tape that I listened to, right? And then, of course, meeting Sid and having such good fortune to learn about the principles and the simplicity of life and human experience. And so my practice, I would say it just became more certain that I had something to share with people. And I saw that my practice was about connecting with people, loving people. I think I'd always had that as kind of my way, right? But still, this was like, I was so certain, right? And I didn't have, I didn't know how to talk about it. I just tried to speak from my heart as best I could and share what I was seeing myself. And I saw clients that would change gradually, some very profound shifts. I saw myself continue to change. I was experiencing a an inner shift that just has continued to deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen over time, right? And there is never a doubt in my mind that my practice, my life, uh, would always be based in this understanding. It all stems from that deep knowing that everybody is whole and healthy, and these principles are the bridge to understanding that and finding our way home to that. And thank you, Sydney Banks. I can't ever thank you enough. Yeah, the field, this is an absolute paradigm. There's no exceptions. Everyone is healthy and whole. And that's a dimension beyond the physical world that we live in. And yet it is the source of the physical world that we live in. So I have no doubt. I think it's very exciting, and again, thank you, Sydney Banks, for sharing relentlessly and hanging in there with all of us. And it's been quite a journey of 40 some years. It's a never ending journey. And I always feel like I'm just starting, and in a certain kind of way. I know where the pot of gold is. I have no doubt of that.